So this month I decided to invite some friends over to watch some anime and enjoy the manga room. And look, I know what you're thinking. Wow, I can't believe Prof has friends. And look, I'm honestly shocked as well. So anyway, I opened the floodgates and they walked into the room. They said, "Oh my god, Dan, you have a problem." And of course, my response was, "But it makes me so happy." Hello all of my otaku friends, my name is Prof Otaku and welcome back to my channel for my October manga haul. This month was just a whirlwind of buying and selling, packages going in and out, me finding deals, me getting pre-orders, as well as me selling off a good chunk of my collection. I've got some super cool stuff to show you and also some things you should definitely put on your radar for future purchases. Stay tuned. And before we get started today, if you like what you see and you enjoy anime and manga content, please consider hitting that subscribe button to continue to follow me for more videos. And as always, all of my social media links are down in the description below, specifically my anime lists where you can keep up with what I am reading and watching on a daily basis. And so with that being said, let's start with the first, oh Jesus. So let's start with this manga here, a true tour de force in this entire haul. This is the 3-volume reprinted collector's omnibus of Yen Press's critically acclaimed series, Thermae Rome. So for those of you who don't know what this manga is about, it is a historical fiction comedy series following a man named Lucius, who is an architect for the Roman baths, and he wants to be modern. He wants to create these really interesting baths. He time travels into future modern day Japan to get inspiration. It's quite a good time. So this manga has several different accolades, including the Osamu Tezuka Cultural Prize, and this release itself is quite beautiful. Beautiful spine, beautiful hardcover, really nice pages. The artwork is incredible, super in-depth, and I've only heard amazing things about this manga. Now, I do want to bring your attention to this release because there's some interesting aspects to it that I think you need to be aware of. There is a slipcover for this, and it's one of those acrylic kind of things. Now, the thing about this is that when I got my copy personally, it was all scratched up, it was all dirty. As you can see, it is this clear blue color, but when you pulled it off of the volume and you took the shrink wrap off, a lot of the blue actually kind of scuffed into the book itself. Now, it is easy to wipe off with a wet paper towel or a baby wipe. Just be super careful, but just know that there are some cosmetic issues that I think just stem from production problems. So this may be a series or a copy that you may want to go into the bookstore and take a look at. And look, this thing retailed at $75, so you better make sure you get a good copy. But yes, this was one of my most anticipated releases of 2022. I'm super glad to have it and I cannot wait to enjoy this series. Next up here is a box set that completes this saga or this very terrible journey for me. And that is the Summertime Rendering Box Set 2 Barnes & Noble exclusive. For those of you who watched my video on Box Set 1, you know what this box set's all about. It's terrible quality, just a thin cardboard box, no sort of extras like a poster or anything like that. The worst part about box set 2 compared to box set 1 is that they didn't even bother to glue it. They just put a piece of tape to hold this thing together. I mean, it's just terrible all the way around. So yes, I am happy to have finished picking up this mystery thriller series, but no, I am not excited with the way that I paid for it or the way that I obtained it. I wish I would have waited for the hardcovers. So next up here is a box set I found off of Facebook Marketplace, brand new for almost 50% off, which was absolutely nuts. And that is Nichijou My Ordinary Life volumes 1 to 10 in this 15th anniversary box set. So this manga series basically follows a group of school children and their ordinary life, but it's hardly anything from ordinary. It's absolutely crazy slapstick comedy, exactly my type of humor. I've actually been watching the anime from Kyoto Animations and it is so funny. I love the voice acting, but I could not pass up this great deal on a fantastic manga, especially knowing that the manga is actually resuming publication. So hopefully down the road we get a volume 11. But yes, I'm super glad that I was patient and I was able to get this box set for such a great price. Next up is a manga set I would have never ever heard about or picked up if it wasn't for the Question on MangaTube. Highly recommend you check out his channel. He picks up some really interesting and unique things that nobody else picks up. But this is volumes 1 to 7 from Kodansha of Yuzu the Pet Vet. So this series basically follows Yuzu as she dives into the veterinary practice. She loves animals, she loves taking care of animals, so it's her exploration through happiness and loss and friendship as she's going through becoming an adult and getting her own veterinary practice. Now I know what you're thinking, oh, those covers look adorable, this must be the most heartwarming slice of life series, but apparently this is a super depressing series because it obviously talks about loss of animals. Definitely gives me the vibes of the stargazing dog, which is why I picked it up. I'm definitely ready for a good cry, so after I cry with this manga, I'm gonna go grab my cat and give him a good snuggle. Now on the completely other side of the spectrum, I just stumbled upon this manga set on Facebook Marketplace, and I know that it's an original anime and I'm super into original anime, but I couldn't pass up this deal because it was a fantastic set, great condition. It is out of print and I was like, you know what, let me just give this a shot. It has decent ratings on my anime list, and that is Tiger and Bunny volumes 1 to 9, as well as the comic anthologies in these omnibus 2-in-1s. So if I can give kind of a comparison to this manga, it's like My Hero Academia and One Punch Man with superheroes in society with a rating system. They team up together and they fight evil, yada yada yada. So yes, I heard that this was a great anime and I'm just super excited to start this because it just seems like something that's going to be right up my alley. The artwork looks fantastic and the action scenes look like they're drawn very well. These spines look great as well. I love that Tiger is in green and Bunny is in red. That just looks super sick. So yeah, not the way I exactly envisioned my way absorbing this series, but I am glad to have picked this up for such a fantastic price. So next up here are the first 4 volumes of Time Stop Hero, and for those of you who don't know what this is about, this is an ecchi series about a boy who can stop time. He gets isekai'd into this fantasy video game world. He goes around, he solves quests so that he can get more time on his timer while pausing the game and looking at boobies and panties. So yes, it's exactly what you think it is. It's degenerate, it's bad, it's not something that you should read in front of other people. It's just good fun and I will probably enjoy this. Next up here is another set from Facebook Marketplace, and look, if you guys want phenomenal deals on manga, highly recommend Facebook. That is where I get the majority of my used manga, and you just find some amazing things, as you can see from this haul already. But I have the first 15 volumes of a series. I picked them all up for $5 each, so it wasn't that big of an investment. But this is Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle. This is a Shonen Sunday series, and it basically follows this girl right here. She's a princess. She gets locked up by the Demon King, and she wakes up in this castle, and she's just bored. So it's a comedic slice of life series about her going through this castle, interacting with the people in the castle, and just doing really silly things. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but I have heard good things about this. It has pretty decent ratings on my anime list, and it is a fantasy comedy slice of life, which is definitely something that I wanted to gravitate more towards. Definitely on the fantasy side. Obviously, you guys know I love comedy and I love slice of life, so I think this is gonna be something that I'm gonna enjoy, and I better enjoy it because I got 15 volumes of it, but we'll see. Here are some more of the spines here and some more of the later covers. So I think right now there are 19 volumes in total. So this is a pretty long running series. And of course, I will definitely be keeping my eyes on whether this series gets old, because with comedy slice of life, the name of the game is to create episodes that are really interesting and varied throughout each volume. So hopefully with this semi-interesting premise and with it being a fantasy world, there's definitely hopefully some directions that this manga can take. So this next manga series, everybody was talking about it, and I got volume 1, but then I had a coupon on Alibris, and I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and get the rest because it's a good price, and I know I'm gonna read it, and I know I'm gonna like it, and that is Witch Hat Atelier volumes 2 to 9. So this manga series is critically acclaimed, fantastic world, great characters, award-winning manga. So, you know, yes, it is a very fun read, but with a manga that's written as well as this, it's definitely something that a lot of people are going to enjoy. I have heard that it is a slow burner. I am curious to see how that progresses, but but overall, I think I'm really going to enjoy this. If you didn't know, I actually did read chapter 1 with one of my English students that I teach online, and we really had fun with it, and that was kind of how I got into the series. Okay, so last up here for the larger sets, I have 2 Shoujo Beat titles that are currently being reprinted, with a lot of them expected to be finished reprinting by the end of this year, so this is a great time to pick them up. I got these off of the Shoujo Beat sale from Right Stuff. So I have a bunch of volumes here of Yona of the Dawn. I'm not going to go through all of them, but as you can see, it's a mess. And I also have a good chunk of the later volumes of Dana here. So both of these are one of the highest selling Shoujo Beat titles of all time, critically acclaimed. Ai Yazawa is one of the best shoujo mangakas of all time. She wrote a great classic with Paradise Kiss, so I'm super excited to get into Nana. I do have now the first 6 volumes, so now I can get a good chunk of this out of the way. And I don't need to say anything about Yona of the Dawn. I guess you can call it historical fiction, but it's not really. It's more like fantasy fiction. But it's got a little bit of everything. It's got intense battles, it's got romance, it's got politics, so definitely something for everybody, and that's what makes Yona of the Dawn one of the best series out there, especially on my anime list. So yes, I went ahead, put my orders in, got into the queue, and they will slowly send me the manga, and eventually I'll have these series finished for very much under retail. Okay, so here we go with the singles in this haul. These are either new volume 1s or these are ongoing series that are currently being published. First up here we have Frieren Beyond Journey's End Volume 6. Love the first 5 volumes. Slice of life fantasy, just definitely a different change of pace than what you would expect. Highly recommend you check out my Volume 1 Should You Read Sunday review on this thing. So next up here is a new series by One Piece Books. This is Usotoki Rhetoric Volume 1, and this basically follows a girl in the Showa era. She has the ability to hear lies, and she hooks up with this detective, and they solve cases. Supernatural mystery thriller, seems super interesting. Artwork looks fantastic. Definitely a series I'm interested in, and hopefully it's good so that we can continue to support small publishers like One Piece Books. All right, next up here is another degenerate series. We have Chain Soldier Volume 2. This is probably going to get me demonetized. But yes, people were saying, hey, this is okay, but honestly, I think that this is definitely very interesting, and I think the artwork is fantastic, and I like the story premise. There's this fantasy world where you have these women who can control men, and the women have superpowers from eating these peaches. So I think that the world is really unique, and this manga is doing a great job of exposing that world and using it to its advantage. And yes, there's Wumpa Wumpa boobies, so I mean, there you go. Next up here is Ancient Magus Bride Volume 16. I don't know why I continue to pick these up. I still haven't read the series. It's been a couple years and it's just been sitting on my shelf, and it's not even close to being on the top of my TBR, so like I just don't know when I'm gonna read this. I just know that a lot of people who have engaged with this series absolutely love it, so I just really need to just read this thing. All right, next here is a new Shonen Jump series, Mission Yozakura Family Volume 1. I've heard pretty good things about this. This is obviously a spy manga about this boy right here who is being chased down, and then he teams up with this girl right here who's the head of a spy family or spy clan, and they have to get married, and so it seems pretty interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of Shonen Jump series, to be honest with you, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this one. It definitely gives me the vibes of like mid-tier Shonen Jump or like standard Shonen Jump manga, and I feel like I'm gonna get bored with this pretty fast. I'm gonna cross my fingers. I'm gonna be optimistic, but yeah. Now, next up here is a Shonen Jump manga I am super excited about, and that is Blue Box Volume 1. This is a badminton manga, and I love badminton. I think it's a fantastic sport, and it obviously doesn't get talked enough about, but the artwork looks fantastic. I'm glad that we're getting them in these smaller volumes. I'm super excited to dive into this Volume 1, and I hope it fixes that sports urge. Most sports series that I have read have been absolutely fantastic, so I think this one definitely is going to be a superstar star series. All right, next up here is Bloom Into You light novel volume 1. So this is a spin-off series of the original 8-volume manga series. I have not read Bloom Into You, which is a Yuri high school romance series. Once I read that, I will dive into this light novel, and I'm assuming I'm gonna really like it. It's highly acclaimed for a reason. It's one of the top-selling Yuri manga, but yes, I do like reading light novels. I think light novels are definitely a dime a dozen, but if you can find one that you really like, it can definitely put your foot down into the light novel scene, and you're going to want to explore more. Next up here is Kaiju number 8 volume 4. I had not read volume 3 yet, and then this came in, so I had 2 volumes that I need to catch up on. Kaiju number 8, you know, it gave me the vibe of just standard Shonen Jump manga, and so hopefully volumes 3 and 4 continue to expand on this world and make this something interesting before I have to drop it. Now next up is a super highly acclaimed series from Shonen Jump, and this is Dan Da Dan. Dan Da Dan. I'm Dan. My name is Dan. Dan Da Dan. Volume 1, and this is basically about aliens and supernaturals and fighting and craziness. So yes, I am very excited to get into this one. This seems like the crazy action that I need from Shonen Jump, so I'm super excited to see what this one's about. So next up here is a total cover buy, to be honest with you, and this is Imaginary Volume 1. It follows basically a group of friends who come together as adults. Now 2 of them are childhood friends that have romantic interests, so it follows their romantic relationship. But this definitely gives me like Anohana vibes, the original anime, and I'm not sure why it does, but I don't know, this cover, it just looks super cool. So yes, I am glad that we get this series from 7 Seas, and I like that 7 Seas is giving us these really unique titles. Okay, so next up here is a manga from Titan Manga, a publisher I've never heard about, and this is Adam the Beginning, and this is a prequel to Astro Boy, and it follows basically the group of scientists who create Astro Boy, and they're first starting out by developing these robots for fighting, I think, and the artwork seems super cool. Now I have the original Astro Boy set from Tezuka and Dark Horse in the singles. I want to read that in 2023. I've read Pluto. I think that the Astro Boy series itself is really unique, so I'm super glad that we have this in an English print. I can't wait to dive into this one. Here we are with a super underrated series, the Ideten Deities No Only Peace Volume 3. Highly recommend you check out my Volume 1 first impressions of this to get a good vibe of what this series is about, because it's kind of hard to explain, but the artwork is fantastic. This world that's presented here has many layers, and it's really cool. The characters are super deep, and the artwork is fantastic. The artwork is from the same person who does Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Highly recommend this series. Okay, and last stack of manga here, we have Kakaguri Volume 15. I think this is the last volume of the series. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. This is a gambling manga. I've read the first 4 volumes. I've really enjoyed it. I definitely do have some problems with this manga. I'd recommend you check out my reading log from last month to know a little bit about that. I'll leave a little card, but I will say that this is super intense thriller, will fulfill any sort of gambling urges that you have. And the artwork honestly is totally top tier, and the games themselves are pretty creative, so this is definitely one I recommend. So next up is a light novel series that I had dropped in 2021, and I am now rebuying it. I just bought the first 2 volumes to give it a try again, because I want to give this thing another shot, because I did enjoy it, but I think I was just an inexperienced light novel reader. I didn't really understand the format of how light novels worked, and that is My Youth Romantic Comedy is Wrong as I Expected, volumes 1 and 2. This is a fantastic, critically acclaimed series. I can't wait to dive back into this. It basically follows a tsundere type and a boy here who is a loner, and they work together in this community service club, I think it is, and they just do oddball things. So another light novel series here that I picked up, and it was part of a bundle with My Youth Romantic Comedy. It was like $5, so I was like, let me go ahead and throw it in there. This is Bottom Tier Character Tomazaki. Volume 1, and it's basically a rom-com about this girl who likes video games. She plays video games with the other guy. So yeah, seems pretty cool. I like video games, so we'll see what this one does. And another light novel series, I know we're in the light novel section, but another light novel series is Vivi Prototype Volume 1, a beautiful release by Airship, a conglomerate of 7 Seas umbrella here, but it is the embossed cover, which is great. Got a beautiful spine as well. If you don't know anything about Vivi, this is a anime original music manga, post-apocalyptic sci-fi robots, mecha craziness. Highly recommend you check out the original anime. It was released in, I think, winter 2021 or 2020, but it was phenomenal. And the light novel itself was actually written by the person who does Re:Zero, so that's pretty cool. And this is the prototype novel, so this is what kind of Vivi, the original anime, was based off of. So yes, I cannot wait to start this thing. Definitely something I'm going to read next month. All right, here we go with Blue Lock Volume 3. Everybody's probably picking this up. Blue Lock is fantastic. Soccer manga, I don't need to say anymore. I think that it's going in a good direction. I don't think Volume 2 was as great as Volume 1, but it's still interesting enough for me to continue to pick this up. Love the action, love the characters. I think the games are super cool. Next up here is A Man and His Cat Volume 7. Fantastic manga, super underrated. This is starting to turn more into a music thriller manga more than about the actual cats themselves. So hopefully we get back to the main thing, which is the cats. But with that being said, even though this is taking a little bit of a different direction, it is a very interesting direction. And I think that it's done very well. This is a very underrated series. And I think that storytelling wise, it's written super well and it's really deep for a cat music manga. So I highly recommend you get this one. Here we go with a new volume 1. This is Shonen Note Boy Soprano. This is from Kodansha Comics, and it basically follows a boy who is right here, and he loves to sing, and he is a soprano singer, and he joins the choir, and everybody's super enthusiastic. But he starts going through puberty and his voice starts to change. So it's his journey as his voice changes and how he interacts with the choir in this change, and also his own personal turmoil of him growing up. Seems super unique, super interesting. I can't wait to see what this one's about. Next up here is a one-shot from the same mangaka who did Beastars, and this is Drip Drip. And yes, it's really weird. It basically follows this girl right here, and she has a hygiene problem. She's like a total germaphobe. So whenever she deals with anything dirty, she gets a bloody nose. And this manga basically follows her journey to try to overcome this problem of getting bloody noses and deal with the personal turmoil inside that's causing this issue. Next up here is Island in a Puddle Volume 4 by Kei Sambe. This is a 5-volume mystery body swap series. I read Volume 1. I thought it was fantastic. Kei Sambe is a phenomenal writer, same person who did Erase. Since it's a 5-volume series and I've only read 1 volume, I now have the 4th volume. I think I'm just gonna wait till the 5th one comes out and then I'll just go ahead and do a full binge read. Last but not least, we have a beautiful hardcover, The Girl from the Other Side, Deluxe Edition Volume 2. This compiles volumes 4 to 6, and everybody knows about Girl from the Other Side, a phenomenal mystery thriller series, super dark, super weird, but really beautiful. I really like Nagabe's works. I think that they write really interesting things, so I cannot wait to dive into this. I have not read this yet, but now that I have the first 2 deluxe editions, I think it's a good time to go ahead and start. And that is it for my October 2022 manga haul. A fantastic month of manga buying. I've had a great month of manga reading. Can't wait to show you guys what I read in next week's video. As always, if you like the content of my videos, please hit that like button, tap the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you know when more of my videos come out, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.